Traveling through Tokyo, I just wanted to discuss playing the role of bunny girl with my senior schoolmate. As luck would have it, I met a beautiful lady next door who was drinking alone and feeling lonely. She was so beautiful. Keywords of the novel. Tokyo. Picking up the neighbor's big sister at the beginning without a pop-up window, Tokyo. Picking up the neighbor's big sister at the beginning. Download the complete set of TXT, Tokyo. Picking up the neighbor's big sister at the beginning. Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. 001 Next Door Big Sister and What Kind of Fairy Barrage Is This? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1001. Next Door Big Sister and What Kind of Fairy Barrage Is This? Tokyo, Shibuya Ward, inside a tavern. I just finished chatting with my senior sister Yui Sakurai, and I'm still sucking on the milk tea she bought. The two discussed that if the pressure of life is too high, the senior sister can try to play the role of the black silk rabbit girl and experience whether it will feel free to walk on the quiet streets at night. On the side, Xian Hailong, who needed to be accompanied and protected throughout the entire journey, sat down and was about to order a new plum wine from August when he heard a strong moaning and intoxicated voice coming from the adjacent position of the bar. I didn't seduce people with my body. Is it wrong to look beautiful? After working hard for 3 months, the bonus disappeared like this. I don't know why I work so late every day. Although the coquettish words were light, they were still keenly captured by Xian Hailong. As he sipped his wine, he instinctively turned his head to look at the other person, but his eyes froze. So big. Xian Hailong was startled one after another. Her pupils dilated and her eyes couldn't help but linger on her delicate face, upper circumference, and beautiful legs. This woman is also too beautiful. He exclaimed again. Looking like 25.29 years old. Height is approximately 168. The weight is about 108. Dressed lightly and elegantly, exuding a twisted and sexy vibe. Beauty type. The key is that her voice carries a seductive feeling, as if a beauty is riding on you and massaging your body with her delicate fingers, unable to bear it. And the other party seemed to have noticed that her recent behavior had disturbed them, slightly apologetic but obviously with a hint of desolation in her eyes, and in an instant, Xian Hailong and her beautiful eyes were passionately intertwined. The wine glass hovered in the air for a few seconds, and Xian Hailong exclaimed in his heart. The older sister at the table next door not only has a beautiful appearance, but also wears a tight black-bottomed white dragon cat silk buttock skirt, with lace black gauze draped over her shoulders and a hazy and fluffy feeling at the navel, covering her upper circumference. A pair of slender and plump legs, with a snow-white and smooth color like silver silk, she crosses her beautiful legs and steps on silver diagonal open-toed high heels without a back tie. She sits there elegantly in ice beautifully, giving people a feeling of loneliness and hard to reach. This suddenly, a subtitle flashed rapidly in his mind. What a fairy barrage. It can also describe the atmosphere of a beautiful woman. Since crossing over, when he saw the beautiful woman, he would occasionally have bullet comments quickly typed out in his mind, like a dog-headed military strategist who would always give you advice on the current events, but Xian Hailong quickly shook his head. A light curtain appeared in front of him, asking him to choose. A. You choose to continue drinking, ignore this big sister, and pretend not to see her. No matter how beautiful she is, what can she do? B. You can't help but sneak a peek and let it happen in your mind. If only I could have such a beautiful sister as my girlfriend, big breasts, thin waist, long legs. The saying goes, death under peonies, being a ghost is also romantic. C. Maintain politeness, like a gentleman, and find the opportunity to chat about why she just said that statement. D. Charge first as respect. God damn it, charge first as respect. What option is B? Even if you want to get to know each other, you still need to pay attention to the timing. First impressions are very important and should not be disliked. C. Choose C. C is still relatively stable. Who wouldn't want to meet such a beautiful sister? Looking at the light screen options that appeared in front of him, Shinkai Takashi was extremely certain. Recommended option. Answer reference. Beauty has been a curse since ancient times. Eliminate hormones, develop endorphins, and later you will find that men are strong without desire, and abstinence is the highest realm of life. Pooh. I also recommend choosing A. I am not a monk. Tisk tisk, I just don't want to be fooled. Although it's regrettable, congratulations on choosing option C, which is relatively stable. If you have the opportunity to meet the other person and successfully achieve the goal, you can earn 1,000 points, which can be used to exchange for the required items. It's quite reliable. But now I don't want anything else. Anyway, at the moment, he needs to find an opportunity to get to know this beautiful sister. Yeah, why are you working so hard? But it's okay. Uehara, you look so beautiful and have a fascinating physique. If you have a relationship with the president, there will definitely be a chance. Next to this beautiful sister, sitting between Xin Hailong and her, sat a short-haired woman with a pink lace necklace tied around her neck and a black narrow skirt paired with snake net stockings on her legs. She also wore a beautiful makeup and dressed in a dark imperial style. The two of them seemed to have a colleague relationship, trying to chat and relieve the stress while drinking. There's no such thing as. That's not true. This figure doesn't matter much either. The older sister lowered her head to take a look at her towering scenery, brushed her hair, and suddenly blushed, reluctantly responding. But soon the woman wearing black snake net stockings raised her hand and glanced at her watch, exclaimed in surprise. She immediately finished her last sip of wine and stood up with a swoop, saying, "Suwon, it's getting late. If I go back late, I'll definitely be scolded and scolded again. Damn, alcohol makes people love and hate each other. I'll get drunk with you again next time. But Chana, you should really find a man to date." As he spoke, his body, which had already turned around and ran towards the entrance of the tavern, suddenly stopped, turned around, and gave a word of advice. Then he raised his right hand high and waved, quickly leaving. The beautiful sister, who was wearing a tight silk dragon cat wrap skirt, looked at her colleague who had already left in surprise. Her red lips lifted lightly and she murmured, "Love." Turning his head back, he seemed to have something on his mind, sighing and continuing to drink. "I just heard about it, but I feel like you're not adventurous enough in terms of interpersonal skills." After a moment, Xin Hailong sat next to Sister Mei. Just as he came over holding his glass, he could clearly feel the breathing of his older sister one after another. At this moment, he adjusted his strategy and looked disdainfully at her face up close, as if even if she was beautiful, there was nothing remarkable about her. This beautiful sister is indeed 168 meters tall, weighing around 108 pounds visually. She has a full and delicate chest, and a firm Q-shaped body. Her body was filled with a pleasant and faint aroma. When Xin Hailong sat over, she turned around and held her head with her right hand. A waterfall of shiny black hair reached behind her neck. Expose her high neck and smooth chin, as well as the alluring red lips of a beautiful woman. Adventure. I don't even know how to take risks, okay, even though that kind of thing is normal. The big sister, with her beautiful legs crossed, tightly hugged her legs and glanced at Xin Hailong before disdainfully taking another sip, staring blankly at the liquid in the cup. Why do you think you don't know how to take risks? This is a person's instinct, how can we suppress it? Since I think that kind of thing is normal, if I walk around and have a relationship, maybe the bonus will come back, and I won't be so worried anymore. Xin Hailong picked up a glass and touched it with the other person's topic, drinking plum wine on her own. Forget it, I'm not that kind of person at all. I rarely talk to people on a daily basis. The older sister let out a cold moan. Her red lips closed in quick words, her tongue sometimes hidden, sometimes warm hovering, and her teeth waded through the refreshing spring of a mountain stream. However, it was evident that her desolate and icy appearance did not usually resemble a talkative woman. "Why aren't you that kind of person? Do you think you're not suitable for that? If you don't pour out your worries and just drink alcohol, it will become more and more boring. Why do you have to do such boring things?" His tone was firm, and Shin Hai-long remained calm and composed. After tasting a sip of plum wine, he hovered over his glass and calmly glanced at her beautiful face and expression. "You." The older sister first became impatient. Then he sighed and said, "It's too shameful, and I'm not someone who knows how to do that kind of thing. If everyone relies on taking risks and moving relationships to achieve their goals, wouldn't it be chaotic?" "That's right, I got it." Xin Hai-long lifted his head and continued to sip the wine, feeling a spicy and pleasant sensation sliding into his throat, instantly giving him a pleasant and slightly tipsy feeling. Staring intently at the wine in the glass, he shook his head in silence. "Hey, I'm that kind of cold-hearted woman, right?" However, the beautiful sister seemed to notice Xin Hai-long's indifferent and ill-intentioned attitude, and suddenly spoke in a relaxed tone. "That's right. And you're also very bored. Speak frankly." Xin Hai-long continued, "I'm actually willing to spend time talking to you, hoping to help you out of your worries. Even though you've been wronged, you're extremely curious and eager for the companionship and care of your beloved man at night, but you choose to drink alone here. Are you planning to keep doing this?" Although the older sister in front of her was very beautiful, had a good figure, and had a warning against strangers in her previous words, Xin Hai-long continued to express his true opinion of her. She didn't speak, but her expression showed a hint of surprise. Then she slowly and elegantly overlapped her beautiful legs under her buttock skirt, and her toenails seemed to have a layer of rouge on them, attracting people to admire. She gave Xin Hai-long another beautiful glance. Then, it was discovered that the boy was not polite enough to lift her jade hand and quickly slid his fingers into her delicate crevices, suddenly crossing with her. "A new book, far away. If you feel it's possible, make sure to collect it." End of this chapter. Chapter 2. 002 bravely crosses 10 fingers with Big Sister. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2002. Holding hands is not a big deal, so. Did your fingers cross? A sudden electric current-like sensation flashed through the woman's hand. She once again realized that her fingers had been accidentally clenched tightly by a stranger in the late-night tavern. This has never happened before. The beautiful sister suddenly felt a sense of disbelief. "It's wonderful, isn't it?" The exquisitely dressed, elegant and beautiful woman felt this strangeness in an instant, and at the same time, she heard what the other person was saying to her, her gaze also fixed on her. Single for 28 years, after graduating from the University of Tokyo, I have been working hard at a well-known publishing house. Although I am always alone, from middle school to high school, people around me constantly praise me for my beautiful appearance, attractive and beautiful figure, and try to pursue myself. Crazy suitors who praise their beauty, figure, and even perverted behavior often encounter them. But I always dislike rejecting them and protect myself very well. Last month, my best friend suggested that I could accept the pursuit of a mature, stable, and wealthy president. But she knew she didn't like him. Last time in the office of the publishing house, I accidentally ran into an OL female secretary wearing stockings who was having sex with him in the office. I felt both disgusted and speechless. When the other party showed their hospitality to me, I fiercely rejected his kindness in front of the whole company. However, as a result, I suffered retaliation from the other party and gave the prize money I had worked hard for 3 months to his private secretary, OL. Yes. This society can indeed be obtained by going to bed. But now, myself, am I going to fall? If we continue. Although May remained calm in her heart, she suddenly realized that the feeling of crossing her fingers with the other person was very wonderful. The other person is very green and inexperienced, a very clean boy. I drank a little more alcohol tonight. My mood is really difficult to dispel. Looking at the boy in front of me, I seem to understand the level of my inner self very well, and even cleverly push myself forward when I hesitate and hesitate. Make yourself feel no embarrassment at all. Uehara, how old are you? You've been guarding yourself like a jade. Find a chance to experience it and you'll definitely be even crazier than me. Suddenly, a thought echoed in my mind as my female colleague and best friend, Rin Miyagi, wore snake net stockings and a black lace collar decoration, boasting about her happy life with her boyfriend. Is love really that beautiful? How about it? After a moment, Xin Hailong looked at the beautiful sister in front of him who seemed to be thinking something, and his voice became stronger. The beautiful sister's fingers, which were crossed as smooth as jade, did not break free. Holding hands is nothing. Quickly, she regained her senses and sneered. So what about this? Without waiting for the other person to react, Xin Hailong turned around and crossed her left-hand fingers with his right hand. At the same time, his left hand also pulled her right hand, extending his fingers and crossing them tightly with her right-hand fingers. At this moment, both hands were tightly clasped together. The high stools of the two also rotated, and they sat face to face up close together. You! Sister Mei scolded. But due to her upturned leg, Meijia accidentally touched Xinheilong's knee 5 centimeters below. The feeling of touching and caressing her silver silk-like legs was truly smooth and wonderful, and I didn't want to stagger at all. Intentionally or unintentionally, Xin Hailong's knee once again touched his elder sister's silver silk-like legs. That feeling is too provocative. Xinheilong observed his reaction in amazement. However, Sister Mei's legs are a bit cold. She needs someone to take care of her. At this moment, his fingers crossed and tightly intertwined with the fairy fingers of the beautiful sister in front of him, admiring her cold beauty and her S-shaped, plump figure up close. The smooth and fragrant shoulders and high and fragrant neck were faintly visible. Xin Hailong took a deep breath. On her fingers, she didn't wear any rings, and the texture was smooth as jade. Her nails were made of light cherry blossom powder. But before the meeting, the young man with sharp eyes looked at him so domineering and disdainful, as if he could see through his own heart. Then, his beautiful eyes blinked, reserved. No need. Bored. As the other party coldly uttered those two words, Xin Hailong decisively shook off the slender fingers of the other party, shook the remaining cocktail ice in his glass, looked up and quickly took a bite, his Adam's apple twitched, and he sighed uncontrollably. I'm not angry either. It's not a big deal either. He comforted himself in this way. I need to drink some more alcohol. However, the beautiful lady wearing a hip-wrap skirt picked up the glass on the table and also looked up to take a big sip. Have another drink. She spoke softly and harshly to the bartender at the bar, asking him to add it to her without interruption. 1 cup, 2 cups, 3 cups. She seemed to be angry and kept drinking heavily. Until she was about to drink, her face slightly flushed, and her delicate red lips began to shimmer. Her beautiful face was burning hot, and the light pink finger of her left hand slightly supported her forehead, smiling. She suddenly started getting drunk and said. It's usually difficult to make some decisions. I don't want to make a decision tonight, but having a drink is always good. It can make you feel motivated to do things you usually wouldn't dare to do. Now, hold my hand. Just like before. Cross over. Suddenly, a hint of smile appeared on her icy face, with a slender arm still resting on her elegant and plump knee. Oh, can you listen to me now? Xin Hailong was awakened for a moment. The words were somewhat ambiguous. But it turns out that this older sister also understands herself. She probably felt it was difficult to make a decision just now, so she needed to drink more alcohol, encourage herself, and let go. In fact, she had already planned to break through the defense line in her heart. And if you don't get on the road or don't understand what you're saying now. The window where big sister finally convinced herself to make a decision may also quickly close. Bored, I was just angry. Xinheilong looked down on her with disdain. So what about that? Wearing a silk hip wrap skirt with a black background and a dragon cat pattern design, the big sister reached out and tidied up her hair on one side, revealing her smooth neck and beautiful appearance. At the same time, Xinheilong also noticed that under the fluffy black veil that this beautiful sister was wearing, she was wearing a shoulder-length skirt, and the scenery in front of her was very beautiful. A thin and transparent bra strap tightly wrapped around her fragrant shoulder. Tell me your name. Kiss as you please later. Do you want me to kiss the beautiful sister in front of you later? At first, Xinheilong was a bit unbelievable. But considering that Sister May has just drank so many glasses of wine in a row, she really wants to have a happy night tonight. I definitely can't let the other person down. And also, make the other person feel incredibly powerful. Where do you live at home? So, a moment later, Xinheilong played with Meijia's fingers and left the tavern while asking for their address. Nearby. He originally intended to book a high-end hotel nearby directly. But it was found that the distance was a bit far. You haven't told me your name yet. Sister May walks a bit shaky, her figure is really top-notch. When she sits there with her hips raised, you think she is a big beautiful sister. When she gets up, she wears silver lace with exposed toes and high-end high heels, standing up with a pair of plump and beautiful legs that are even more outstanding. Xinheilong is amazed. Just now she was drunk and almost kicked off the high heels she was wearing, but when communicating with her, her thoughts became very clear. What's your name? Xinheilong asked back, and what had been constantly on his mind were the sexy woman wearing a hip wrap skirt, big sister, the woman who really wants the opportunity to be able to forcefully buckle up. It was too inconvenient for him to shout. Uehara Chanel. The older sister gently wrapped her long hair behind her ear, lifted her red lips, and continued in a soft voice with Xinheilong. The young woman who should get married is already old. Her voice is gentle and virtuous, while also exuding maturity and tranquility. So what? Not much, you're quite arrogant at a young age. Turning around, Uehara Chana directly extended one of her beautiful legs, smiling and kicking towards herself. Xinheilong easily grabbed her leg. I didn't expect that your cold and sober appearance after getting drunk, Chana, was the ultimate contrast. Are you planning to let yourself go? He sneered, holding onto the big sister's beautiful leg. I couldn't help but feel my pupils dilate. Where do you live at home? Nearby. Sister May was very refreshing, her icy beauty turned pale with a glance at Xinheilong. I'll provide the specific address. Xinheilong spoke bluntly. Shibuya District, Songhua 4. Chom, number 20.13. However, after Xinheilong finished speaking, the older sister not only gave her home address, but also said, why, do you want to stay at home tonight? If it's still possible, remember to bookmark it together. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. 003 Kiss Me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3003. Are you going to my house tonight? I almost thought I heard it wrong. From the tone and expression of the older sister's speech, it was evident that Uehara Chana was a bit intoxicated. How could you imagine that just now, a cold and indifferent older sister, would say such tiger and wolf words to the man she just approached? Serious. If we do it, that would be great. Faced with the older sister's provocation, Xinheilong smiled calmly. Although the big sister's figure and beautiful appearance are both top-notch at this time, and even celebrities may not be able to match them, how much credibility can a drunken woman's words have? Besides, she is so beautiful. And he suddenly felt that the address sent by Sister May was a bit inexplicably familiar. Somboa for Chom 20.14. So he opened the map navigation, entered the address, and it took about 15 minutes to find his residence. He helped Magia up to Genhara Chana and took the elevator to the door of room 20 and 14. Then he suddenly realized that the address where he was about to move to a new home was in the neighboring room 20 and 13. I'm next door neighbor to this beautiful sister. Wow. Kiss me. Open the door. Big sister pushes Xi and Hailong in and locks the door. Kiss my neck and chin, I like it. Kamina Yuwara reached out and held on to Shin Hiroshi's hand, slowly placing it on her waist with a snake-like texture. The lights were not turned on, and they embraced each other, their eyes fixed on each other. She tiptoed on her high heels, her delicate red lips lifted lightly. In the darkness, facing her own lips, you could feel the beautiful breath between her lips. Afterwards, she removed the black veil from her shoulders and threw it to the ground. Holding Xi and Hailong's shoulders with both hands. Ice cold, I came up with a kiss. Damn it, I hugged and kissed the older sister I just met at the tavern. Hugging the other person's waist with both hands, it's very tight. Her delicate red lips were kissing her passionately. Then, the older sister said slightly tipsy, the timing is great tonight. If you hadn't met me while I was drunk and started flirting with me, I probably wouldn't have done such a thing either. Me, you should take advantage of my lack of rationality and kiss me as you please. After waking up at dawn, I don't know if I will recover to that witch head. Damn it. I really want to kiss big sister against the door in the dark. Xi and Hailong did the same. But her body kept shaking and she was on the verge of falling. Later, Shinkai Takashi reached out to her waist and wrapped around her back and legs, picked up Kamihara Shina, pressed the light switch, looked around, and carried her to the bedroom with the door open in the living room, then threw her onto her soft and cold large bed. I also rushed forward and passionately followed this beautiful sister's seductive red lips and her plump body up close for a while. While admiring her beautiful and fair face, I didn't expect her to be so crazy. Water. Water. It's so hot. At this moment, the woman in front of her was talking incessantly, as if her mouth was dry and uncomfortable. My legs kept kicking. Xi and Hailong went out and found a bottle of ice water from her refrigerator. She looked up and gulped down for a few sips. Just as she was about to deliver the water, a barrage appeared in front of her. Diagnosis. The probability of Shangyu and Chana wanting to have sex with you at this time is 99%. Although she is impulsive and feels depressed, she wants to go crazy. But if you go to her room to kiss her neck and touch her now, she will definitely not be able to bear it. The result is predicted that the other party will mercilessly pull you black and let you out, and never think of this night again, because a beautiful sister with good intelligence may have drunk and become confused for a while, but after being rational and sober, she will never have any further involvement with you, there is no second option. So you choose. At this point, everyone has said that you can kiss freely tonight. Although there is a hint of drunken nonsense, it can be seen that she really wants you to be with her tonight. Go and bravely open the door. Leave. Resolutely leave. People are most likely to engage in irrational behavior when they are not clear-headed. How can you guarantee that she won't report to the police the next day? Stay calm, she is currently in a bad mood and drunk. Serve her well for a night, take care of her for a night, and win the favor of the other party. The goal of getting to know Sister May today has been achieved, and the relationship between the two is gradually progressing. The appropriate time will naturally happen. To avoid suspicion, but to be clear, you choose to lie on the sofa and rest for the night holding the high heels she just took off. This time, the options are basically very comprehensive. Xin Hailong looked at the information screen in front of him and carefully examined it. Just now I went back to her house and kissed her directly at the door, warmly catering to the older sister and kissing her neck and lips. The next thing will only become more and more terrifying. I really want to marry my older sister. Attention! In order to help the host establish a more scientific relationship with others, option A has a simulation function, which will be simulated soon. Suddenly, the light curtain had a simulated experience of the current situation, and an accelerated version of the event development scene appeared around it, and time flew like the speed of light. Big sister is depressed and irritable. You choose to come to her bedroom with her, open the door, she says to kiss you, and you start to go in and pounce on her, embrace the big sister's waist, and passionately kiss her. Big sister also likes this and responds warmly, "You're crazy, you feel like you've never met a beauty of this level before." Kissing such a beautiful woman like big sister is an immortal experience, it's deadly. During your upcoming process, the older sister suddenly cried and said, "Who are you and why are we doing this?" She cried very sadly and didn't see you in her eyes. You comfort her, she looks indifferent, you held her and kissed her passionately, but she didn't react crying. You had a relationship. The next day, she found a stranger in her bed and didn't listen to your explanation. She told you to get out of here and not let her see you again. Big sister scolded you harshly, saying that you should not talk to anyone about last night's incident, and coldly told me that you will never see anyone again. Option A is a one-night romance, and the simulation results are not good. If it were you, which would you choose, to be intimate with this beauty for only one night, or to spend a long time together in daily life? Option B is also very anti-human, and it's not that I forced myself to come here. It's this big sister named Shangyuan Chana who asked me to come. Option D is too agonizing. Choose C. Xin Hailong has made a decision, but option C is still more stable. She is currently feeling hot and dry, and if she can serve her well for a night, maintain good communication while the other party is awake, gradually gain trust, and then become ambiguous. The two lovers are happy and have a relationship. Being accompanied by such a beautiful woman is a great joy in life. Recommended option. Beef recommendation reason. A gentleman, I almost couldn't spit out a mouthful of old blood. Xin Hailong believes that this recommended option should not be seen by himself in the future. What era is it? You still deceive yourself. Hot. It's so hot. In the master bedroom of the Noda room, after being carried and thrown onto the bed, Kamina Yuwara quickly felt a bit dizzy, with her beautiful legs rolling back and forth on the bed. She called out a few times to the kid outside. However, when I remembered it, I felt dizzy and couldn't get up at all, and my mind was dizzy. She kicked off a silver slanted hollow high heel. The other one also wanted to kick it off, but found out it was hooked by something. Then he lifted his leg and stabbed his foot directly on the bed. The visuals are provocative. Her face was hot and slightly flushed. On that beautiful face, her beautiful eyes were tightly closed, her long eyelashes were like a sleeping beauty, and her delicate red lips were pursing and talking incessantly, occasionally revealing clean and neat white teeth, swallowing the beauty's breath. But she quickly got drunk and opened her eyes, wanting to find the remote control to turn on the air conditioning. She also touched the possible places around her, and quickly exclaimed in surprise. It seems to have brought a boy back. He didn't touch me recklessly. Generally speaking, men take advantage of others to possess themselves. Are you going to my house to do it tonight? Suddenly, a thought came to my mind, as if I had been drunk before and said the words to let go of myself. Oh my God! What's wrong with myself? At the same time, her body was hot and dry, and she tightly hugged her legs. Lying in bed, Uehara Chana continuously caressed her delicate body, with a series of bitter smiles on her icy face. But soon, the door of the master bedroom was suddenly pushed open with a creaking sound. Is he going to? That. She suddenly felt a little scared. At this moment, Shangyuan Chana, with hazy eyes and a dizzy mind, was thinking so anxiously that if the other party dared to take another step forward, she would definitely fight against him. But what is that? After the other party came in, they not only helped themselves turn on the air conditioning, but also held something in their hands, accompanied by a voice. You must feel uncomfortable because it's too hot and dry. What's going on? I'll help you wipe your legs and body with an ice towel. If you feel comfortable, I'll continue. If you're not comfortable, you refuse, that's it. Hiss. So ice, so ice. But suddenly it feels so comfortable. As a cold sensation hit, Shanyu and Chana couldn't help but shudder all over. When the wet towel ice was applied to her beautiful legs and instep, her whole delicate body felt miraculously melted. Then, the cold and damp towel wiped the other leg, and behind it were my shoulders, back, and waist. What does that mean? Does this kid like to let his body temperature drop before doing anything with himself? But she felt like she couldn't bear it anymore. Shanyu and Chana felt a refreshing sensation that was crispy and numb all over her body. My legs are constantly resting, both comfortable and icy. Her tightly closed legs, as well as those beautiful girl-like toes, and the curve formed by the snow-white ankle and instep were very beautiful, which made Xian Hailong's heart skip a beat when he saw them up close. Joy value plus 10. Joy value plus 30. Joy value plus 80. Pleasure value 120/1000, just on the other side. Xinhailong accidentally discovered that while he was thinking about pleasing his older sister and taking action, the pleasure value of the previous task began to increase significantly. At the beginning, it is a single-digit number, and then it goes straight to the highway. How do you feel? I won't give it to you, I'm so greedy for you. Make you suffer, make you feel unique, live in your heart every day, and make you infatuated with the feeling of my existence. Xian Hailong is calculating. One night. How can one night be enough? I want you to be with me day and night, big sister. If the pleasure value reaches 1000, it can be exchanged for items needed for daily life. Anyway, I am young and strong now. Although I have also drunk, my consciousness is very clear that she wants to make my older sister feel an unprecedented enjoyment. Just wait for yourself to finish all of this, and the pleasure value has reached 880. Xian Hailong put a towel into the basin and sat on the large and comfortable spring-like bed. In front of a particularly large mirror next to him, he vaguely looked at himself and the seductive beauty lying on the bed in the mirror. Another seemingly inappropriate description appeared in my mind. Xinhai Longxi habitually ignored it. Lying sideways, quietly looking at the other party's older sister's devilish and stunning face, as well as her S-shaped, plump and slender water snake waist, she thought to herself. Unexpectedly, Kamina Uehara, we didn't know each other at night, but now we're actually at your house, lying on the same bed. Love has come, like a tornado. As she was speaking, Xian Hailong yawned and was about to lie down next to her to rest. But the older sister suddenly opened her beautiful eyes, trembling and afraid slightly. She murmured to protect herself and said, "Don't pretend, are you trying to kiss me here?" This book is updated around 8 a.m. and 22 p.m. every day, sometimes in advance. If possible, remember to provide more support. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. 004, aren't you excited? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4004. Do you also think it's ridiculous? Name. Shangyuan Xiangnai, age. 28, height. 168, weight. 108, chest circumference. F, yet to be verified, identity. Senior employee of Tokyo Publishing House, status. Drunk, trance, scared, favorite rating. 13 out of 100, stranger, encountered events. Being pursued by superiors, strongly resentful and rejected, being seduced by company rumors and slandering colleagues, causing a stir, working hard for 3 months, the bonus was cancelled. I have sorted out the known information of my former elder sister and analyzed it with the light screen to assess their favorability towards me. Faced with the older sister's statement of, "Stop pretending," Xin Hailong directly rebuked the other person's delicate body. "Funny Shang Yuan Chana. Saying it was you who came to your house tonight to do it. Are you saying this to me now? I know you may be talking nonsense while drunk, and you don't look like that promiscuous woman. But just because there are rumors in the company that are not conducive to you, and you haven't achieved the expected results after hard work, do you subconsciously want to let yourself go? How do you kiss later? Is this what a serious woman like you can say?" Xin Hailong fiercely criticized her. "I don't believe it." Quickly, Shang Yuan Chana seemed unmoved and sat up from the bed with an indifferent expression, pulling off her shoulder bag and hip skirt. At the same time, her hand reached under the pillow, as if she had a self-defense tool. Xin Hailong almost missed his nosebleeds. "Although I am usually tall and cold, I admit that my physique is quite good compared to my peers. Aren't you excited? It should be very beautiful." Even though Shinkai Takashi has seen many things in his past life, the person in front of him, Kamina Uehara, is still among the top-ranked ones he has ever seen. A light pink bra set, paired with her seductive figure. In the darkness, the neon flickering Shang Yuan Chana outside the window, and the secluded, spacious, and tidy master bedroom. Looking at her beautiful scenery, Xin Hailong scolded her and said, "Okay, come on. Come on." As he was speaking, Xin Hailong rushed forward and kissed the older sister, hugging her delicate body. But soon, he kissed and kissed her. Her hand had touched the self-defense tool, but with the other's clanging voice, she began to cry. Sure enough, it's the same as the progress of the simulation. Xin Hailong smiled. She is actually just struggling to calm down what the company has encountered in her heart. Excited. How could I not be excited? But now it's obvious that the older sister is acting around. But suddenly in my mind, I thought of what my best friend Sangong Lin had said to me. It's okay to have a relationship. He didn't take advantage of others' situation in front of him, so he should be a good candidate, right? She felt really sad in her heart. Then he lifted his head and said, "That's it, I'll close my eyes. After dawn, you leave. We'll never see each other again." Yuwara Chana, her high heels still swayed on the bed twice, posing in a seductive position, her face burning and motionless. Then there was a squeak. The tight silk black bottom with a dragon cat pattern design on the buttock skirt, unraveled from the back and pulled apart in one go. The older sister sat up directly and came to Xin Hailong's face. She stood up and rested her hands on his shoulders. Yuwara Chana still looked drunk, with her feet in high heels even stepping on Shinkai Takashi's waist. "Kiss me." Xin Hailong felt his neck stiffen. Quickly, Kamina Uehara seemed to not believe that the boy in front of her had no reaction to her. She once again leaned her red lips towards the other person's ear and whispered in her voice. And placed the other person's hand on their own waist. "Okay, we need to continue." Xin Hailong smiled and didn't hesitate at all, hugging his older sister's back and kissing her. "Okay, isn't it about releasing oneself? Come on, let's fly together." Speaking, Xin Hailong leaned down and grabbed her arm, then lowered his head and kissed her lips. But Uehara Chana quickly stopped and pushed herself away with all her might. She covered her face with one hand and cried sadly. Then, Xin Hailong loudly rebuked the other party in an instant. "What's wrong? You also think it's quite ridiculous, don't you?" Xin Hailong held onto the snow-white shoulder of the other person, looking very regretfully at their beautiful expression of blushing and covering their face. A woman who has lost her job and found an arrogant boy as a means of entertainment. If you want to do it, it's also a love-filled act. In your eyes, you willingly accept every part of me, otherwise it's no different from walking dead. Fast food. Do you love me? Or are you just using me as a tool to get some sleep? Xin Hailong repeatedly questioned the other party. And the other party's favorability towards them has always remained at 13. I'm sorry. However, suddenly, Shan Yuan Chana lowered her head. Seems to know that my approach was inappropriate. I didn't mean to disrespect you. However, when Mamiya Rin talked about how beautiful and happy her relationship was with her boyfriend, she often encouraged me and made me curious. Plus, what happened in the company today was really frustrating. I worked hard and made my own decisions. Why did it come in exchange for revenge and rumors? I want to forget these troubles. With her arms outstretched, Kamihara sat quietly on the edge of the bed. Her long black hair cascading down like a waterfall, her towering figure was displayed elegantly, quietly, and desolate. Her waist-to-hip ratio is very attractive at first glance, with a large leech-like waist, a tight and beautiful figure near the navel, an S-shaped curve, as if outlined in a stroke. Her skin is snow-white, her right foot is 45 degrees apart, her light pink toes are bathed in the night light, her straight nose bridge, red lips, disdainful peach blossom eyes, and cold face are very easy to conquer, making her a perfect woman. If she could be with her day and night. So what are you saying to me? I drank alcohol. The liquor is pitiful enough, don't let it carry the blame. Xin Hailong directly scolded her. I'm sorry. Afterwards, she cried even more sadly, hoarsely crying. Faint. Knowing that the other party must have been extremely sad today, otherwise they wouldn't have come to drink, Xin Hailong cursed inwardly. Moreover, the top-notch beauty in front of her is elegant in demeanor, dressed appropriately, and looks relatively simple. She is not the kind of person who plays around recklessly. That's right, I can understand your behavior, and it's great that you can express your feelings now, Chana. She needs encouragement. Xin Hailong praised and recognized the other party. But the other person remained silent and continued to cry. Xin Hailong was not in a hurry and gently told her. Is your mood better now? This incident just happened recently, right? People are not sages, and it will take some time to get rid of it. However, if you allow me, I can accompany you until you get better. Now, cry whenever you want, whatever you want. Xin Hailong showed his attitude and then met the other person's gaze face to face. Quickly, after listening to these gentle Uehara Chana's eyes, a touch of emotion flickered from the darkness. The slight alcohol intoxication in her mind instantly surged, and she reached out to embrace Shinhiro's head and threw her arms onto herself, crying. Favorability +3 thank you. A burst of coquettish sounds. Subconsciously wanting to dodge, Xinhailong realized that his face was already pouncing on the other person's delicate body. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. 005 Her suffocating figure. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5005. Her suffocating figure. She smells so good. Suddenly embraced by the older sister, Xin Hailong's face clearly heard a subtle sound. She should have trusted herself a little more. Afterwards, a fragrant aroma came from the tip of the nose. It was the scent on the skin around the big sister's neck. Xinhailong wanted to hide, but was tightly held by the other person, feeling very enthusiastic. Oh, it's so breathtaking beauty. Xin Hailong once again felt that the big sister in front of him was definitely the top-notch beauty she wanted. For the first time in his life, Xin Hailong stared and felt everything happening before him, as if he was on a soft cotton flower. If it weren't for witnessing what was happening before him with his own eyes, Xin Hailong would never have thought that his older sister would be like him. Did the harsh sentences I told her earlier uplift her? Oh, can you help me take off my high heels? Immersed in it, I quietly felt with my older sister for a while. Kamina Uehara looked at the young man's green face in front of her in disbelief, with a language that was completely different from what he should have said at his age. Hey! Take off. Take off your high heels, big sister. Just suddenly, when both of them had calmed down a bit, Kamina Uehara elegantly extended her high heels tied to her legs and said to Shinhiro, seeming a bit embarrassed. She just unbuttoned herself in bed several times, but she still hasn't unbuttoned it. The headache caused by alcohol didn't disappear for a long time, and she wanted to hook her feet up and let go, but was stunned and powerless. I really trouble you. She wiped away the tears from the corners of her eyes. With a bitter smile, he looked at his high heels wrapped in straps. His feet came out, but his ankle was still hanging. I don't know your name yet. The older sister sat comfortably on the bed, reaching out to support the cascading hair by her ear. Her voice was gentle in the late night. Zinhe Long. Long. Well, people will call me that. I didn't expect your name to sound quite nice. Ahem. As he was speaking, Shinhiro admired the legs of his beautiful sister, Kamina Uehara, and his gaze passed over her teenage toes, which were painted with light pink nail polish. He was stunned for a moment. Afterwards, she reached out to grip her smooth little feet, lifted her silver and silk-like legs, patiently untied the high heels wrapped around her ankle with straps. During this process, it seemed like she was exerting too much force, causing Shangyu and Chana to moan and scold. And Xin Hailong discovered that at some point, the high heels on the big sister's feet were tied with a light pink lace. Make older sister's already beautiful legs more pleasing to the eye. At the same time, Kamina Uehara appeared in front of Shinkai Takashi as she sat on the bed, twisted her face and lowered her head. She also said somewhat bewildered, Takashi, now. A light curtain appeared in front of me, and it was the option. A. Sleeping with my older sister, she is now drunk and although she has a clear mind, she longs for the man she likes to hug her. B. You choose to say good night, big sister, have a good dream, and then quietly leave. C. Jump up and kiss your older sister. In this situation, she won't refuse you. But you have to think about the consequences of doing this, she is a very powerful killer for you, right? D. Women are the least interesting. What kind of big sister do you know? Who? What woman is the least interesting? B. Is a bit heartless, not to mention, the older sister in front of her has a good figure, is gentle like water, respects and polite to you. Although there was an argument during the conversation between the two of them, the outcome was good, allowing the older sister to show a fragment of her inner self. The implied meaning of C is to continue kissing and having sex with the older sister. Jump up. Embrace and kiss the beautiful sister in front of you, preferably with her beautiful high heels hooked around her. Spring night was once worth 1,000 gold, at the same time, bullet comments also came to mind. Damn it. This barrage is also too unorthodox. A. Choose A. Xin Hailong decided to hug his older sister. She was so beautiful, and now she has such a beautiful figure appearing in front of him. In the light and shadow of the night, she is like the most charming demon. Especially when the light and shadow hit her skin. Hold on and sleep. Xin Hailong said calmly. I'm afraid something might happen. So you just said you wanted to do it. Xin Hailong gave her a white glance. Sure enough, she is a big sister with a stunning appearance, but in reality, she tends to be conservative in her heart. How about it? Seeing Shangyu and Chana, she regained her previous cold appearance, and Shinkai Takashi's voice became stronger. Answer me well. If you want to, you can sleep with me. If you don't want to, you can't stand it, Xin Hailong said. But to be honest, it's already very late now and it's a bit inconvenient to leave. However, seeing no response from Uehara-chana, Shinhiro sighed and was about to leave. Don't. You can come and hold me. I need a man who doesn't dislike me to hold on to my body tightly. I drank a lot of alcohol tonight, it's like this. Long is very good. I was going to be reckless for a while, but I won't see you again the next day or even in the future. Although I am prepared, if you want to stay with me for a long time, I am willing to give it a try. After all, we kissed and hugged each other. Shang Yuan Xiangnai's delicate voice echoed in waves. Her feet are still stepping on the soft big bed. The strong force of the spring below caused Xinheilong's body to shake when kneeling on one leg. It can be called a waterbed feeling. At the same time, the older sister's body also shook a little. The older sister wanted to escape, so Xian Hailong went to bed with one leg and quickly pounced like a wolf, grabbing the girl's foot. You. Afraid. You promised to hug, but you have to run away again. Xinheilong calmly spoke of his own thoughts. Don't hide, that's good. Aren't you feeling upset? Tonight, let's hold on to our feelings and I can help you. As she spoke, Uehara-Chana seemed to think for a moment, and then stood still on the other foot that was supposed to escape. Then you come up. Standing high and condescending. Xinheilong looked at his beautiful sister, Kamina Yuwara, with a plump figure like a big leech. He pounced on her and the two of them bounced on the big bed, then hugged the beauty in front of him instantly. Looking at each other in astonishment. We looked at each other incredulously. So, actually hugging a man feels like this. There is a feeling of weightlessness and almost softening. But soon a wonderful feeling will strike, tempting people to linger. Faced with the fact that I was drinking in the tavern tonight and expressing my feelings, but was ultimately scolded by a boy who spoke frankly and sorted out my emotions, I want to be a positive and upward person. He is quite cute. In an instant, Kamina Uehara recalled the events of tonight in her mind, including the previous incident where this kid was holding ice water to help wipe her body and maintain a comfortable and cool state. Do you plan to keep doing this? Don't you want someone to be with you at night? Thoughts were swirling, and words of self-criticism emerged from the young man in front of him. Turning around, the gentle Uehara-Chana stood up and came to Shinhiro, testing and hugging him. Tonight, hold him like this. I was wrong. I was busy this morning, so I will finish writing tomorrow's draft and update it on time. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. 006 Initial Favorite Value, signed. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6006. Initial Favorite Value, signed, name. Shangyuan Xiangnai, gender. Female, beauty. SSR level, status. Drunk, numb, disappointed in society and interpersonal relationships, favorite rating. 18 out of 100, joy value. 1250/1000, redeemable, reminder. 1000 points have been credited to your account. The shopping mall is open. Please enter the required items and we will deliver them to your doorstep within 3 working days. When Shinkai Takashi was hugged tightly by his demonic body on the big bed of Kamina Yuwara's house, a message light screen quickly appeared in front of him. Sure enough, this big sister's level is beyond the reach of ordinary beauties. She is SSR level, restricted level, and the highest level beauty. The system is okay, points can be exchanged for different things, and delivery can also be made to your doorstep. I'm looking forward to it. The key is that the liking level with the older sister used to be 13, but now it has reached 18, and the relationship is steadily improving. Xian Hailong believes that after tonight's self-urging on her, the other party's liking level will significantly increase. A liking score of 0.15 means that you can have normal conversations with the other person and not dislike strangers. A favorability rating of 15.30 indicates that the two of you have established a certain connection and can be called friends. A liking rating of 30.45, an ambiguous period, means that your relationship can further develop and you can start daily intimate interactions with the other person. A favorable rating of 45.60 indicates that your relationship has made substantial progress, and you can always ask her to do anything with a high probability of success. With a favorability rating of 60.85, you can have a stable intimate relationship and continue to explore. As I was speaking, the light curtain provided explanations and explanations for the numerical value of favorability in different segments. The initial favorability is 13, which should be the inner feelings of the older sister after chatting with her in good faith and bravely crossing her fingers. Added 5. It's me holding her, making her vent and cry. Hold me. While pondering so much, Sister May suddenly acted coquettishly like a teardrop. This is not holding. Xinheilong caressed her waist. I don't know what it will be like to wake up tomorrow. Do whatever you want. Xin Hailong placed his hands on the other person's beautiful back and made contact with her proud curves, which was both a comfortable and rare experience. In short, the feeling of being intimately embraced by Yuan Xiangnai, this beautiful big sister, was very good. I simply satisfy all my fantasies. Tighter. Be even tighter. Late at night, in a strange and upscale room, the woman next to her told herself, and Xin Hailong hugged her directly. In the end, he passionately kissed her on her delicate red lips, not only crossing his fingers before. Now, his legs are the same as those of his older sister. Favorite rating +5, favorite rating 23/100, congratulations. The initial favorable relationship has been established, and the relationship between the two of you can be considered as friends. If you increase your favorable relationship to 30 again, it can develop into an ambiguous period. Accompanied by a timid yet curious voice. Xinheilong looked incredulously at the numerical value and relationship assessment in front of him. Unexpectedly, with the other party agreeing to embrace him, he hugged her and his liking increased by 5 points. Meeting for the first time and currently developing into a relationship with a liking rating of 23, Xin Hailong nodded in satisfaction. The rest is an increase of 7 in favorability, so that Xin Hailong can have a more substantial relationship with his older sister. Long. The next day, there were bursts of coquettish sounds. There seems to be a fragrance at the tip of the nose. The blurry pink and orange color of the picture seems to be someone calling out to them. With a hazy opening of his eyes, there was a pair of hands waving gently in front of him, seemingly gently wanting to wake him up. However, soon after, Xin Hailong opened his eyes and saw the lights in the master bedroom in his sight. Standing up, covered in a thin pink silk quilt, the room was clean and tidy, empty. I want to use the restroom. Xinheilong's face stiffened. After going to her eldest sister's house and using the smart high-tech toilet, she looked around and found that Meijia's home was both warm and tidy, and there were also many beautiful flowers and plants planted on the balcony. Especially outside the balcony, there is a thriving area of various colored flowers. It's like a small garden base. No wonder my home is so fragrant. Xinheilong let out a murmur. When he arrived at the living room later, there was a note on it that read a few lines. There is breakfast I made in the refrigerator. The arrogant pig-headed boy, remember to go to school on time. Hey! In the quiet and clean room, Xin Hailong muttered to herself, how did she know I was going to school? Pig-headed boy. Oh, the words written by this big sister are quite elegant, with dragons, snakes, and phoenixes dancing. The brushstrokes have a strong and vigorous tone, and the smell of ink on the note paper seems to be still lingering. She probably thinks she's young, so she guesses she still has to go to school. But soon after finishing the raisin toast and milk made by my older sister, I went to the bedroom to make the bed and suddenly found that my student ID appeared at the head of the bed at an unknown time. Family name. Xinheilong, identity. Shibuya No. 6 High School, Grade 3, student. On the left is a bareheaded photo of oneself. The lower right corner shows the campus address and the red circular seal. It seems that when the older sister woke up in the morning, she accidentally dropped her student ID card. This beautiful sister. I was originally thinking of keeping it a secret from her. Long, why haven't you come to class yet? Didi, upload a message on your phone. The note name is Akira Tonino. Afterwards, he looked at the time again, 10:05. Damn it, you're 2 hours late. Xin Hailong picked up his backpack and changed into his uniform, opened the door, and ran straight to the school. From my own memory, due to my mother's illness, I needed to go back to the countryside for rest. Originally, my father had a stable job at the Tokyo Tram Company, but for the sake of my mother, I chose to go back to the countryside with her and live in a large house in a nearby forest. When his parents were away, he had to rent a house that was too wasteful due to tight surgical fees. However, Xin Hailong didn't want his parents to worry too much, so he rented a room not too far from the school, which was the room next to his older sister. Although both of them belong to the same floor and the decoration here is quite good, Xin Hailong lives alone, so although the room is a bit narrow, the bathroom, bed, air conditioning, computer desk, bathroom, and although the 5 organs are small, everything is complete. On the phone diary log, it says, A. Go to the coffee shop to work on time at 16:00, B. Inquire about Sakurai senior sister's progress in playing the role of Black Silk Rabbit Girl, C. Moving D. Exam preparation and autumn festival activities. I flipped through my phone and found a photo of a meteor and 2 photos of Sakurai Yui's senior sister being discovered, which caught the eyes of Shin Hiroshi. I couldn't help but laugh. Is it Miss Sakurai from the Lonely Acacia? End of this chapter. Chapter 7007. Apply toenails and put on silk. Seeking follow-up reading, Seeking the Moon. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7007. Step on You. Good guy, you're the only one who comes to school so late. Tokyo, 6th High School. Xin Hailong was just about to enter the classroom when suddenly someone behind him hugged his shoulder and helped him with his frameless glasses. Tanino Mingda. What are you looking at? There are still the last 2 Chinese classes, don't think you'll skip class. After speaking, he dragged himself towards the seat in the 3rd to last row by the window in the classroom. From the window of Xinheilong's location, you can see the campus green football field and the high net-protected tennis court. The sky is clear and blue, and fresh air occasionally comes in. What an excellent seat. Bathed in fresh air on my face, this moment is quite enjoyable. Xinheilong. Senior sister, how was the decision to play the role of Black Silk Rabbit Girl discussed with you last night? This matter should be done sooner rather than later. Fortunately, having traveled here, Yui Sakurai is also the object of his secret love, so he won't waste the opportunity in vain. Sakurai Yui. Sorry, I haven't figured it out yet. The senior seemed to be pondering something, and as soon as Xin Hailong sent it over, the other party replied. Xinheilong. Does the senior sister have black silk? Sakurai Yui. Yes, Xinheilong. Put it on Sakurai Yui. Seeking death, by the way, are your boys very excited when they see a beautiful girl wearing black silk? Xinheilong. Dama, senior sister wearing black silk. If she were in front of me, I might be excited. Sakurai Yui. Rogue, Xin Hailong. If you have ideas, you must bravely express them. Without discussing them, there is no possibility of success. I also don't want to see black silk, but my senior sister put on black silk and looks at it carefully. Sakurai Yui. Step on You. Xinheilong. Apply toenails and put on silk. Sakurai Yui. I don't want to kill you. I'll clean you up when I start working in the afternoon. New Hailong. Sakurai senior sister, please make a decision as soon as possible. By the way, did you have a good time last night? Dang 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 dang, a soothing burst of music. The last 2 classes are Chinese language classes, and classes have begun. A female teacher with a height of approximately 163 entered the classroom. She was wearing a light and thin ice silk shirt with a white background and black stripes on her upper body, a white narrow skirt tied around her waist, and a skin patch on her feet that Shin Hailong could easily catch a glimpse of. She wore white high heels on her feet, had a slender figure, shoulder-length short hair, peach blossom eyes, and was a quiet female teacher. Name: Kiko Hayakawa. Identity: Chinese teacher. Height: 163, weight: 92, chest circumference. C. Beauty level. SSS level, current background. A boyfriend who plans to date, but after the other person makes abnormal demands, he thinks about why he wants to do this and feels unbelievable, so he is in a bad mood. Status: puzzled, sad. As he was speaking, the basic information of the female teacher had already been scanned on the light screen. Just say this female teacher is young and beautiful. Why does she have a hint of sadness on her face? Originally, it was because my boyfriend whom I planned to date made so-called abnormal demands. You notice a hint of sadness on the other person's face. The young female teacher in front of you has always been very simple. She looks forward to pure and beautiful love, but she is still in the stage where she has not yet understood and known about men. Although she has read many love-hate stories and hopes that her beloved person will be deeply involved, she has not tasted the fruit of love yet. You can try going to her office after class, trying to communicate with her, opening her heart, and maybe she will call. Animal. This subtitle. Xin Hailong believes that there are many beautiful women here, but currently he still needs to earn more money. In the afternoon, he needs to go to a coffee shop to work and discuss with his senior classmates how to make money, which is what he needs to do at the moment. New Haijun, New Haijun. Suddenly, as I was immersed, a gentle voice called out my name as politely as possible. Here. At first sight, the female teacher was shouting at her while holding a textbook. Xin Hailong was so frightened that he quickly stood up. The classroom suddenly burst into laughter. It seems that Xin Haijun really wants to read the textbook content. So, please read page 37 and select the 6th episode of Norwegian Forest. Green Hidden Beauty. May I ask Xin Haijun if you are available? A gentle and polite female teacher. Although I was distracted by myself, the other party did not criticize me, but instead asked me to read Haruki Murakami's classic work aloud. The lush greenery hides its beauty. Xin Hailong looked at the content of the textbook and remembered this chapter. It was a kind-hearted Lingzi who was admired by a young girl who knew how to act, and she wanted to have sex with her. However, she was ultimately rejected and slapped, resulting in being slandered and sent to a mental hospital. The male lead came to the hospital to see Naoko, and Lingzi asked if Naoko had ever had sex with him. What a realistic story. New Haijun, can I read? My mind wandered again. This time, the female teacher's words suddenly became a bit serious and she came to me holding her textbook. That fair, gentle, and sorrowful face. Xin Hailong discovered that the female teacher in front of her was not only beautiful, but also had peach blossom eyes that seemed to have something to say to you. However, she was very introverted, as if there were endless secrets waiting for you to explore. Xin Haijun, could you please come to my office after class? Suddenly, there was a commotion and a flurry of gazes in the classroom. Old teacher. Please come to my office after class, Mr. Shinhai. Hayakawa Kiko said very seriously and politely. Afterwards, the female teacher saw a slightly clear answer in her eyes, closed her textbook, and returned to the podium. She found another female classmate to read this chapter aloud. It is not allowed for you to be distracted during class here, and because of your distraction, you need to go to the teacher's office after class to receive education and inquiries. Pop. Happiness is gone. Don't worry. Don't worry. A teacher with such a responsible attitude deserves praise, but it seems that there is something very unhappy about this teacher, Kiko Hayakawa. You can try to communicate with her while chatting with her, and make her have a certain liking for you. Maybe you can even become a friend, or even a more extraordinary relationship. Shut up. Looking at the inappropriate subtitles in front of him, Xin Hailong realized that the barrage was not right. End of this chapter. Chapter 8008. Kiko Hayakawa, early update, thank you for praying for 500 coins. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8008. Xin Haijun is very caring about people. Xin Haijun, the meal can only be postponed. I need to seriously talk to you about your problem of being distracted during class. After class, Gu Yeming was supposed to take him to the rooftop for lunch. But after class ended, female teacher Kiko Hayakawa called herself directly to the office on the 3rd floor. She walked elegantly in front, with a gentle breeze brushing her hair and white narrow skirt, while she admired and followed behind. Teacher Jizi, where am I not focused? In the office, there were many files and textbooks piled up on each desk, and most of the other teachers had gone to eat, leaving only Kiko Hayakawa sitting alone in the office seat, with a cold expression as he looked at Takashi Shinkai. Does Xin Haijun not know that he didn't listen attentively during class? Xin Haijun, calling you to the office is absolutely correct. If you know you're not focused, it's okay. If you're not aware of the parts you're not focused on, it's a serious matter. I really care about people. Xinheilong whispered in secret. Thank you for your concern, teacher. It's inevitable that people may lose their minds. Teacher Jizi, do you also have moments of losing your mind? Yes, but I just discovered you, Xin Haijun. If a teacher is fortunate enough to discover your inattentive behavior and guide and correct it, will they become better and learn more knowledge in the future? Although this approach is strict, it is actually incredibly useful. I hope you can take it seriously. Hayakawa Kiko's words are correct. She is indeed very responsible. But Xin Hailong still decided to confront her, because if he called himself out alone during lunch break and ended it like this, it would be too embarrassing. Teacher Jizi, this is not fair. If I find that Teacher Jizi is also distracted during class, then I will give Teacher Jizi a kind reminder of being discovered. So Teacher Jizi, do you also want to thank me? Welcome to supervise at any time. If Shin Haijun does this, it would be a great behavior. Gentle, humble, serious, diligent, responsible Xinheilong realized that he was about to be defeated by the female teacher in front of him. He thought the other party would think he was rebellious and would contradict the teacher, but to his surprise, Kiko Hayakawa could also listen to his opinions on her. Teacher Jizi, your complexion is not very good today. It's Xin Hailong's turn to ask Teacher Jizi a question. Me. It is obvious that Kiko Hayakawa did not expect Takashi Shinkai to speak to him like this. Yeah, even though there are worries on my face, I always think that I can solve them on my own. However, my worries are hidden in my heart, and sometimes I can't figure it out. Teacher Jizi, there's no need to think that what I'm saying is unreasonable just because I'm younger than you. I'm also reminding Teacher Jizi about your problem. Xin Hailong's words are accurate. At this moment, he knew why Ms. Hayakawa Jiko was wearing a worried expression in front of him. The reason was naturally because her boyfriend, whom she planned to date, made some unreasonable and abnormal demands that she felt she should have made. She was distressed as a result. Thank you. Sure enough, did you still see some eyebrows? Kiko Hayakawa expressed doubts on his face. But when I thought about brushing my brows in the mirror in the morning and seeing my slightly worried appearance, I was worried about being discovered, but I didn't expect it to be in class and then in the office. Xin Haijun, thank you for your concern for the teacher. However, the teacher will handle your affairs well on their own. Let's take care of your situation first. Hayakawa Jiko quickly adjusted his thoughts. That's not possible. Since the teacher admits that he has something on his mind, as an equal exchange, the teacher can talk about his own affairs. Maybe after the teacher finishes speaking, I can help the teacher find the answer. There was a light pink, transparent, and tidy box on Teacher Kiko Hayakawa's desk. At first glance, it was the rice that the teacher had brought with him. Suddenly, his stomach let out a growl. Xin Haijun is actually very caring about people. Teacher Jizi politely said a sentence, but she quickly looked at the lunch box on the table, with a smile on her lips, and continued, sure, Xin Haijun seems to be hungry. Xin Haijun can go and bring his lunch box to eat together. It's a tone of concern. Although teacher Kiko Hayakawa brought him to his office with a stern tone, Shinhiro did not feel uncomfortable. Instead, he felt relieved because the other party clearly stated the reason for calling him here and was helping him with all his heart. I didn't bring it. Get ready to take a bite. Xin Hailong's green and astringent face gave a playful smile. I was with my older sister all night. Although she made breakfast in the morning, she didn't have time to pick it up because she was late, or maybe she shouldn't have picked it up because my older sister wasn't at home. She could think of making breakfast for herself, and she was actually very happy. If you are young but don't know how to take care of yourself, you can eat the teacher's food. As long as you don't mind what the teacher does not taste. I really care about you. Surprisingly, she even allowed herself to eat the food she cooked. No, Xinheilong refused. Xinheilong politely declined. It's a headache. Even though I didn't bring lunch, I pretended to be indifferent and could solve it myself. Xin Haijun, this will only make the teacher more worried. Hayakawa Jiko nodded slightly. A pair of peach blossom eyes, the remaining light coldly looked at me. She was wearing a light and thin ice silk shirt with black stripes on a white background, cleverly covering her figure. Although she couldn't see much from a distance, when you were up close, you could feel the gentle and unyielding softness. It's yours, Xin Haijun. Please make the teacher feel at ease, okay? The female teacher in a narrow white dress pushed her lunch box over. And carefully opened the box cover. There are neat seaweed rice and vegetable roll, delicious side dishes, chicken chops, organic vegetables, etc., and a healthy diet. It seemed that the fragrance had not dissipated yet, so she brought it over and apologized before getting up and heating it in the microwave in the tea break area. At the same time, outside the window of the third-floor office, a cool wind blew through the hair of the female teacher Jiko Hayakawa, as well as her white, clean narrow skirt. Her shirt was also clearly swept in a curve, pressing against her waist. Turning her head, there was a hint of sadness on her fair and beautiful face, mixed with her straight body and elegant demeanor, forming a beautiful scenery in Xin Hailong's mind. The character is online now. Everyone, hurry up and give a little support. I will work hard to write it. Big sister is definitely determined to win, that is, to flirt with her to an unbeatable, long-lasting and intimate relationship. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. 009 is in the office with the teacher. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9009. Sakura, Sakurai senior sister, name. Jiko Hayakawa, identity. Chinese teacher, age. 24, chest circumference. C, to be verified, height. 163, weight. 92, beauty. SSS level, initial favorability 0.6, good guy. At first, I thought the female teacher cared about me and had a good impression of me. Why doesn't she care about others and instead care about herself? I heard that every female teacher has a favorite student in her heart. But I didn't expect that when I brought myself to the office, my favorability was updated and it turned out to be negative. Still riding a horse to lose 6. I don't know if it's because she found herself constantly distracted in class, causing trouble for her brain, and coupled with a bad mood, that's why she has a lower liking for herself. In front of her, Kiko Hayakawa, in terms of appearance, figure, personality, and attitude towards life, currently appears to be very nice, rigorous, and proactive. Such introverted women, once they go crazy, are very stubborn and disregard everything, and will have unexpected vacuum and extraordinary experiences. Favorite point 2 When the female teacher took out the hot food from the microwave and handed it to him to eat, he suddenly noticed that her liking for him was going crazy in her ears. Accumulated favorability point 10 Hey. That is to say, he doesn't even have a stranger-like relationship with teacher Kiko Hayakawa now. A woman who is inconsistent on the outside. Strangers, the minimum favorability is 0. Don't bother, I will handle lunch myself. The voice of Zinhailong became stronger. I will seriously consider the issue of being distracted during class, but teacher Jizi, you need to adjust your state well and not let personal matters affect your performance in class. The favorability hasn't decreased any further. Zinhailong calmed down. Hayakawa Jiko exclaimed in surprise. Glancing at Xin Hailong. Then quickly took out his phone to watch his facial expressions. Couldn't it be that he left such an impression on the students? Xin Hailong plans to go back directly at this time. At present, Kiko Hayakawa has a sense of boundaries towards herself. Although she is curious about what kind of abnormal words the man she plans to date have said that have caused her to become emotional, let's see how he can break the deadlock with Kiko Hayakawa in the future. This Hayakawa Kiko is the type that is pure, sultry, and has a sense of boundaries. By the way, Xin Haijun, I wonder if he can move these files to the classroom tomorrow morning. It seems fine, but Zinhailong is about to leave. A gentle voice behind. Unfortunately, something happened. Zinhailong responded with a sound. Hayakawa Jiko was stunned for a few seconds, then looked at Shinhiro's back and left arrogantly, and said, okay, you have quite a personality. However, interestingly, when Zinhailong treated her strongly, her favorability not only did not decrease, but also increased slightly. Favorite +1 Hi, Long. I worked hard today, afternoon, 15.50. Sakura Wings Cafe, Kitchen. Xin Hailong had just arrived at the place where he was working. He quickly changed into his work clothes and tied the bow tie at the collar. Soon, a cheerful and sweet voice came from outside the door. Looking up, the first thing that caught my eye was a pair of beautiful legs wearing high heels with open toe straps. Cherry-colored girl toenails. The bow tied with high heels tied to her snow-white calves, followed by a tall, sweet and delicate-looking senior sister dressed in a sweet and stylish manner. Name: Yui Sakurai. Identity: Tokyo 6th High School Senior High School female student. Age: 19 years old. Chest circumference: C+. Height: 165. Weight: 92. Beauty. SSR level: Initial favorability. Unknown. Situation: Happy. She returned from shopping in a good mood and bought many beautiful clothes, showing off her figure on the upper body. Background: He once starred as a TV commercial model at a young age and became popular for a while. Later, he inexplicably hid it. In his sophomore year, he transferred to Tokyo No. 6 High School. After being discovered, he finally reappeared in the public eye. However, in high school, due to being a celebrity, there were more onlookers and discussions around him, no friends, and his mother exerted a lot of pressure. He had a stubborn and lonely personality. Sakura, Sakurai senior sister. She was wearing a backless camisole dress with a white ice scarf underneath, which looked very proud. Wearing a top hat, with long hair hanging down from the chest, especially wearing a silver tassel earring on the right ear, walking brightly. A truly sweet and elegant senior schoolmate. Looking at the fashionable and beautiful girl in front of Xin Hailong, it's hard to think of the girl who met him in the tavern last night to negotiate playing the role of the bunny girl. No, how did the senior become much more outgoing after a night? Also, did she put on black silk today? Xin Hailong is quite concerned about this. Sakurai senior sister. Today she is wearing a sexy backless V-neck ink blue dress with a large flower-like bow at the back of her neck. She is wearing a long dress and high heels with straps. When I first looked at her, I was only attracted by her beautiful temperament and didn't pay attention to whether she was wearing it. You keenly noticed that the senior schoolmate you secretly admired was wearing a beautiful and sexy dress with a backless outfit today, which can showcase a girl's beautiful figure very well. The bow at the back of her neck is obviously a decoration. Since you have discussed with the senior schoolmate to let her wear a black silk bunny girl, then tonight you can. Will it be implemented tonight? Looking at the analytical text in front of the light curtain, Jin Hailong exclaimed in surprise. Miss Sakurai, you haven't agreed yet, okay? If it's implemented tonight, Sakurai Sr. should send herself a message informing her that she has already bought black silk, bunny girl decorations, and other news. But she didn't. But she is in a good mood now. If you have the opportunity to ask Sakurai Yui quietly later, that would be fine. Thank you for the monthly pass for the poisonous cherry blossoms and problematic salted fish. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. 010 Are you looking at it again? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Whispering, I hate it. Sakurai Senior Sister, last night we discussed your role as the bunny girl. Oh, it hurts. Cafe, shift change time. Sakurai Yui, dressed in a uniform dress, is using a vacuum cleaner to carefully clean the seats in the coffee shop. Xin Hailong walked over, preparing to help his senior sister move the tables and chairs, while telling the other party about the negotiation between the two. However, before he could finish speaking, a sharp pain hit his toes in an instant. Sorry, could you please excuse me? Sakurai Yui said arrogantly and coldly. Senior Sakurai, you have shown such a cold and indifferent demeanor towards your younger brother. Can it be that senior sister will eventually break her promise? Xin Hailong sat down on the nearby chair, eating his senior sister's sour plums and moaning in pain. You just broke your promise. Sakurai Yui took a glance at Shinkai Takashi. I just haven't prepared my clothes yet. Sakurai Yui blushed and continued, accelerating her pace of tidying up the floor. But soon, when the senior sister bent down to use a vacuum cleaner to clean, her black 7-inch skirt in her work uniform gently brushed against the cold air in the CAFA, wearing stockings inside. Black silk. Xin Hailong's keen capture path. He was just about to eat a sour plum when he found that Sakurai was wearing black silk and quickly choked. At night, will my senior sister accompany me to play the role of bunny girl? Sakurai Yui, I talked to myself earlier and said I haven't figured it out yet, but in reality, black silk is already on her body. Her skin is fair and tender, her body is straight, and her model-like legs are wrapped in thin black silk. You can even vaguely glimpse the snowy skin inside. I just wore it. For a while. It was as if she had heard the murmur of Shinkai Takashi just now. Sakurai Yui quickly stood up straight, trying to block it, but then realized that it was in vain. It looks pretty good. Xin Hailong encouraged. Humph. Are you looking again? Ahem. My feet. Suddenly, there was a strong pain in his toes, and Xin Hailong felt that his toes were about to be deformed by his senior sister. What's wrong with me? At this moment, Yui Sakurai crossed her arms and leaned her back against a table. Her face was sweet and indifferent, and she stepped on Shinkai Takashi. No, being stepped on by Senior Sakurai is a stroke of luck. However, if Senior Sakurai took off her shoes and stepped on her with black silk, that would be great. Ahahaha no. A cold little hand suddenly caressed Xin Hailong's waist. Xin Hailong quickly started to itch and laughed. Sakurai Yui, with her long hair flowing, let out a coquettish snort and turned away a sweet and indifferent pretty face, leaving a beautiful shadow and walking straight to the fitting room in the kitchen. Yo-ho. Finally, I found a girl who is difficult to break through her inner barrier and unwilling to take action. Shit, I hate it to death. On the other side, in the fitting room, there was a loud bang in the fitting mirror. The slim-fitting uniform skirt fell down and the light and thin shirt was also removed. In the fitting mirror, there appeared a bra suit wearing bright blue lace, faintly hollowed out, and a beautiful girl with fair skin. She glanced at the black silk she was wearing, beautifully embellishing her figure, but was still attracted by a snow-white and proud fragrance in front of her. Sakurai Yui stared blankly at her pretty face and incredible figure in the mirror. Rabbit girl. Yu Guang, she looked at the bag she had brought in the morning. A moment later, she changed into the V-neck, backless, slim-fitting dress she had worn before coming to the coffee shop, and tied the pink bow at the back of her neck. Stepping into high heels, clattering out of the fitting room. Wow! Several younger generations outside are discussing something around Xinheilong. But upon seeing the beautifully dressed senior schoolmate Yui Sakurai step out, she was instantly amazed by her temperament and couldn't help but exclaim with laughter. Hi, everyone has worked hard. Are you also in the same class as me tomorrow, Friday? Hey! He's in the same class as his senior classmate again. Mr. Long has been working with Ms. Sakurai several times this month, right? Don't go too far. A few people came over with their waistlines crossed, showing signs of protest. The key is that when Sakurai Sr. came out of the fitting room just now, she passed by them, wearing a top hat, turning her head and blinking her eyes lovingly at Takashi. The expressions of envy from several people became even more intense. Long, what have you done with your senior classmates? She refused all of us. Well, this may be because Sakurai suddenly wanted to be friends with me. With a bang, the door closed and after changing clothes, Xin Hailong rushed out. Hey, you must be a fake senior, right? Sakurai senior sister wouldn't leave alone, at night, 9.30. The weather is cool and the streets of Tokyo are bustling with vehicles coming and going. Sakurai Yui, who had changed into beautiful clothes, walked alone by the flower shop on the street wearing a backless outfit and high heels, with a somewhat lonely and dim face. Xin Hailong went straight over to chat her up. Don't Xin Haijun need to be busy with his own affairs at night? Sakurai Yui has a faint face. No, I'm busy with Sakurai's affairs tonight. Tomorrow. Xin Hailong is planning to coax this lonely and beautiful senior sister. But listen to her coquettish voice. Tomorrow I will play the role of the bunny girl. See you at 22.00 at the Riverside Park of Sakura Station. Goodbye, Xin Haijun. Step up. Sakurai Yui disappeared into the sea of people. But unexpectedly, a pink cherry blossom clip was pinned to her tall hair, and as she quickened her pace, the clip quickly fell off. Xin Hailong squatted down, picked it up, and held it in his hand. That's the senior student, Yui Sakurai's hairpin. It seems to still have her hair fragrance on it. Tomorrow night she will play the role of a bunny girl. For some reason, Shinkai Takashi felt that Sakurai's indifferent appearance today was a bit strange. 10 minutes later, the tram had just entered the carriage, pulling on the handrail. The current time is 9:45 p.m., and Shinkai Takashi stretched lazily. All he could see were the station signs and promotional posters for the hottest and most beautiful girls in Tokyo. The place where he works is 6 stations away from his place of residence, and the distance from his newly moved residence is 3 stations, which is an improvement in terms of distance. It's obvious tonight that there won't be enough time to move, but the thought of being next door to my older sister, Kamina Uehara, inevitably gives me a hint of excitement. That beautiful sister, it would be too happy to be with her. Afterwards, he turned his head and sat in an empty seat, where the beautiful Sakurai Sr. was sitting. Everyone remember that the daily update time is around 8 a.m. and 6 p.m., which is good for inspiration and may be updated in advance. Rolling on the ground for support. End of this chapter.